Okay, so now I finished grinding down the key washer here, and as you can see, it's got a nice flat surface now. So now the drag washer actually has a flat surface to enter, and it's not just riding on the edge. That'll make the drag a lot smoother. Now, because I have ground that down, it's taken about 2 mils off. It's 1.55 mils thick, and then at the edge where I've ground it down, it's 1.22. So that's about 0.2 millimeters difference. Now, what I've done is I've cut a piece of Carbon-Tex washer that's slightly thicker. However, I don't think using the stock washer is going to make any difference. So if you don't have the material to make a thicker washer, you can use the stock washers and then add a very thin washer over the shaft. And what that'll do is it'll make up for that difference that you've lost. But again, I don't think it'd make much of a difference. So anyways, so what I've done is I've pulled the handle apart and I've taken these bushings out of the handles. There's 4 bushing in there. And I've replaced them with stainless steel ball bearings. So it'll just give it a smoother feel. Not really necessary, but it will do that. So there's a bearing here in the for the pinion. So the pinion's dual supported. It's supported right here. So there's no play there, and there's no play because it's supported on that one. So what I'll do is I'll take the bearings out. Now the spool bearings don't need any grease. Just a light oiling will do them. I'm going to eventually swap them out with ceramic bearings anyway. Now there's a little plastic spacer here. So you just pop the spacer out. And then push the bearing through. So what I'll do with this bearing is I'll get my nylon bearing greaser. Just put the bearing in there. And then pressure fill it. And once you see the grease coming out of the sides of the bearing, it's full. That means there's no air in there. So where there's no air, there's no rust, because water can't get in. So put that back in. Put the spacer back in. That's that bearing done. Now take the inner roller sleeve out. And again, what you can do to make up for the difference in the washer is just put a little brass spacer over this once it's on the shaft, and that'll make up for the difference. So once I've got the roller out, I'll get some more blue grease. Just take some out of here. And just line the roller bearing with a little bit of marine grease. And that'll just help keep the reel smoother and help protect that roller bearing from any corrosion. Now what I've done is taken the 2 screws out of the drive shaft. There's a little spring clip here in the drive shaft. You take that off. There's 2 spacer washers. Be careful not to lose them. Put them in a tray, and then I've pressure greased that one. For the pinion bearing, you just slacken off one of the screws and then take the other one right out. Just leave the one screw in there. Again, I've done the same thing. I've already pressure filled this one. So put it back together. You've got to be very careful with these reels. The parts are so small on it, you don't want to lose them. So make sure you get the holes all lined up properly when you put them in there. Try not to get anything cross-threaded. And screw that back down. Now, we do have a little bushing in the level wind here, so we have to take the side cover off. Now, the way you do that is right here. There's a little C-clip's got to come out. Now, be very careful with this one. They're really tiny, and you don't want to lose it. So make sure you get a good grip of it. I always have spares, but you never know when one of those are going to go flying. So now you have to take the plastic cover off here. So there's a screw here. You unscrew that. And this cover just snaps off. Now there's another little C-clip here, as you can see. So we got to get that off. And again, be careful. You don't want to pop in and disappearing on you. I use a very small standard screwdriver to move these things off. So anyway, and then there's a little brass spacer. And pop that off. Then you need to loosen the level wind screw. And then you can pull this all the way out. Once you got that out, just Take that. There's a little steel pin in there. Remove the pin. And be very careful. You don't want to lose all this stuff. Pull that off. And then pull the bushing out. And then the same thing. We'll replace that bushing with a stainless steel bearing. Put the bushing over. Put the cog back on. Put the pin back in and center it. And then put the level wind back in. Once the level wind's back in, you can replace the screw over the level wind cover. Tighten it up. Put your little brass washer back on. And replace the C-clip. So that's back together.